What's your name and main role at Accenture?
My name is Caitlin Chang, and I'm the Brand Innovation Lead at Accenture Interactive in Austria.
What do you do on a daily basis in your role?
So basically, I consult companies that are my clients on what we call future topics. So topics like new work, sustainability, diversity and inclusion, responsible marketing, with a focus on marketing and communication and brand communication topics.
What does new work mean to you?
So new work for me means three keywords. So first is human, the second is flexibility, and the third is empathy. Why human? Because I think old work, so how we used to define work before, was actually defined back in the industrialization era, right? We used to think back then that humans or the employees were part of a big machine, and they needed to be controlled, they needed to be micromanaged, and they needed to be really controlled to the most, that we got the most profit out of it and the most productivity out of it. We now know that that was not sustainable, and that is not sustainable. And we now are waking up to the fact that actually, surprise, it's humans, right, who are working in these companies and not machines. And that's why we need to now start to wake up to the fact that the reason why we're talking about flexible work, about new work, about flexible ways of working, part-time, all these things, is because we're realizing that we are humans and we have our needs. And the reason why then is the second keyword, flexibility, is basically because of that, right? Because we're not machine parts, we all have different needs and we're all in different stages of our lifetime. A part-time solution from Monday to Thursday that works perfect for a working mom can be completely catastrophic for another working mom, because her family situation is different. So all of these things mean that new work has to really be based on the concept of flexibility to be able to cater to all the individual needs of every employee. And the third keyword is therefore actually empathy. Because whenever we talk about new work and flexible work, when we look at it from the employee's perspective, for us, everybody goes, that sounds great. When you look at it from the manager, from the employer's perspective, everyone starts getting a bit skeptical and being scared. Will it really work? How can I control that? And that is exactly the wrong answer. It's basically a mindset change, right? Just like before COVID, nobody thought the remote work could work so well, or it could work even at all. But now we know that, of course, it's not perfect, but still it can work, and we can tweak it and optimize it to make it really work even better. So that's exactly what I mean by a mindset change that is required. And this mindset change is having empathy and being able to really understand and respect your employees, and really just accept the fact that all of them are responsible adults.
What three trends will shape the future of work within the next 10 years?
The first thing that is very, very critical is also what Fjord calls humanization of the workforce, right? So really acknowledging the fact that all of our employees are humans and not machines anymore, right? That they are able to come to their workplace to really show their entire identity, to bring their full, entire whole selves to work and not be afraid to show it. What do I mean by that? That sounds very philosophical. Is, for instance, not being afraid to show that I'm a mom, right? And not having to do as if I don't have any kids and everything's okay, and then getting a burnout. No, completely being confident and honest about it, because I know that my workplace will accept it as it is and cater to my flexible needs, right? So that is humanization of workforce. What that also means on the organizational scale is what also Fjord calls edge organizations. This means much more so organic, distributed organizations and smaller teams that are given a lot more agency and power to decide for themselves, right? So it's not anymore the centric sort of center organization like GE used to be in the 90s. Rather, it's sort of like, cryptocurrencies, where everything blockchain on a very organic matter and very decentralized. So every team sort of having a lot more decision-making power for themselves, including how they're going to organize themselves, how they're going to work, which goals they're going to work for, and how they're going to reach it. All of these things combined together makes the edge organization sort of work the way that work the way they do. And the last thing is, if we have this human workforce and edge organizations, then we need to think about, okay, what will the leaders then be like? The leaders have to have empathy. So empathic leadership is the third trend that I would like to talk about. So these are the leaders who understand much more and have a lot more empathy with their employees of their individual life situations, of their individual needs and their entire whole selves, right? Instead of the old sort of dictator kind of leaders that used to say, here, we go here and you follow. Instead of that, the whole need for a much more understanding and respectful leaders that will really try to understand their employees and cater to their needs with different, diverse, flexible work options will really enable these organizations to work in the new work era.